Eating healthy is important, but sometimes it can be difficult to stick with it when you're just cooking for yourself. So today, I'm getting some great advice on how to avoid reaching for junk food when preparing a meal for one. So today I am with Sarah Haas. Now Sarah, my mom used to tell me that cooking for one is just as easy as cooking for two or more, and we all know that eating for one can sometimes mean takeout food or snack food, but you have some tips to make sure we're eating healthy when we're cooking a meal for one, and you say it all starts with a well-stocked pantry.
I think that, sometimes it's a time management issue. If you're living by yourself, you might not want to cook and maybe you don't have the time. The pantry is where I wanted to start because I think if you have a stocked pantry, you are going to have a lot of the basics that make it easy to start a meal. And it usually starts with a whole grain, and I personally love quinoa and bulgur because they both cook really quickly. We're conquering time here with those grains. And then canned items like canned vegetables, fruits, proteins like beans and tuna. Your pantry can be your best friend.
The next thing, which I'm a huge fan of, is making sure you're using your freezer.
I do a lot of my cooking on the weekend, and I think that's a good tip for a lot of people too. Cook a batch of whole grains. They freeze really well, and then you can tear off portions as you need them.
Part of it is time management, so you're cooking ahead of time, preparing your meals, and then saving it for later and using it throughout the week.
Exactly.
And then your third tip is very straightforward, very fundamental. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. I think we have these expectations that whenever we eat, it needs to be some sort of gourmet meal, and that's not practical and it's not realistic, and you're kind of setting yourself up for failure when you do that. So just have fun, but make sure your meal tastes good and is nourishing. Use your pantry to build it. Use your refrigerator and freezer, and you're going to have a great meal it's not going to stress you out.
And it's easy and it's healthy, and you did it yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to make something today. What are we making?
So we're just going to make a simple grain bowl is what I like to call it. From the freezer, I pulled the quinoa, and usually I like to start with about a half a cup of the whole grain. Literally, you can pull from wherever to put in this bowl, and you can utilize anything that's left over or anything that's in your pantry. Beans is the first thing. Those are garbanzo beans.
So these go in here?
Yep. The next thing is just a bunch of vegetables, and I call flavorful items. So we eat with our eyes, and a lot of the most nutritious foods are bright in color. So we're just doing about a half a cup of everything. Shredded carrot.
And these you can get pre-shredded at the store. How easy does it get?
Time management. Pickled onions. And then some feta cheese for a little more flavor, as much as you want. Toasted pumpkin seeds for a little extra protein. Kalamata olives for a little more flavor and a little of that healthy fat. And some hemp seeds for an additional amount of protein and fiber. And then it all gets topped with this dressing over here.
Sarah's homemade dressing is made from tahini, lemon juice, grated garlic, lemon zest, and water.
And then a pinch of salt and pepper. You can just pour this over your bowl and you've got dinner, and it really didn't take that long.
That's fabulous. So this looks delicious, and it was so easy to make. I can't wait to try it. But I think we should talk about the biggest takeaway, and that is it's easy to cook for one. It can be healthy, it can be simple if you just plan ahead.
I couldn't agree more, and that's why I love those tips of just using your pantry, your freezer, and then keeping it real, because it's attainable, right? A nutritious, nourishing meal for one person is totally achievable on a weekend.
I love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For more healthy eating ideas and Sarah's recipe, please head to our website, livinghealthytv.com. Okay, I'm gonna dig in. Do you have, oh yeah, good.